From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network at Troy, Alabama's International University, this is Troy TrojanVision News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision News for April 12, 2017. I'm Paige Weeks.
And I'm Samantha Charles. Thank you for joining us this evening. Last night was the end of an era. It was the final Student Government Association Senate meeting under the current slate of SGA officers. Donald Robinson has reaction from the outgoing officers.
It was the final SGA meeting of the year on Tuesday night, a day that all senators look forward to.
The last meeting has been really cool. We all wait for this moment just to be able to wrap everything up, and we look back and see what we've done this year, what we've been able to accomplish, and just all the people that we've been able to work with this year.
Though there's excitement about the last meeting, seeing old friends leave is never easy.
It's really bittersweet. Through SGA, you get to meet a lot of people that you don't normally may not see across campus, so it's been really cool just to meet with them. And the last meeting means that it's all wrapping up, and it means that we wrap up one chapter and we get to start the next one.
It was all smiles in the Hawkins Hall auditorium for most of the night, and the senators will hit it hard once fall gets here. But first, there was a little work to be done.
In the fall, when we start everything up, we'll be starting with more resolutions, starting with more constitutions to get passed, and start with more legislation to work on bettering the university. But we also did put two things on docket that will get passed, or hopefully will get passed at our first meeting for the next year.
Although it was the final meeting for the SGA of the school year, it is not the final SGA event. Many members are still looking forward to one particular event taking place next week.
We've got the banquet next week, and we're really excited about that. We love the banquet. We get to dress really nice and present some superlatives and some awards, and all the old Senate and all the new Senate comes. So it's a really good opportunity for us to get together. And
Donald Robinson, Troy TrojanVision News.
The new officers will be sworn in next Tuesday. Those won't be the only new members, as students voted on next year's SGA senators in an online election today.
The Brothers of Pi Kappa Phi fraternity have spent the last few days riding a bike non-stop. However, they didn't get very far. Actually, they didn't move at all, but their fundraising effort is going the distance. Justin Walker explains.
The Brothers of Pi Kappa Phi fraternity were out on the social quad on Tuesday, raising money for their philanthropy, the Ability Experience.
Today, we just started yesterday, and it's our annual bike-a-thon, and we're just raising money for the Ability Experience. And by doing this, we're just riding the stationary bike for 50 hours. And we started yesterday, and it'll end sometime tomorrow.
Riding a stationary bike to raise money for the philanthropy is their way to show support. But according to Greg, there's an even bigger bike ride that is scheduled to take place this summer.
Basically, this just symbolizes the national service event that our fraternity does called the Journey of Hope, in which members from different chapters from all over the country ride from the West Coast to the Washington, D.C., and they just raise money for our philanthropy, which is the Ability Experience, and that raises money for disabled children across the country.
For the Pi Cap brothers on Troy's campus, every member of the fraternity is scheduled to make an appearance on the stationary bike during the time of the event.
I think we have 28 active brothers right now, and everybody signs up for 2 or 3 hour, anywhere between 1 to 3 hour shifts. So it just depends, really.
Justin Walker, Troy TrojanVision News.
The bike-a-thon wrapped up today, but the brothers spent the afternoon with some area special needs students at their annual Push Carnival. In celebration of National Poetry Month, some Troy students took some time to recite some of their favorite rhymes.
The event took place in the library. With the story, here's Sarah Singletary.
April is known for its showers that bring Mayflowers, Easter eggs, practical jokes, taxes, and poetry. Troy University students, faculty, and staff celebrated National Poetry Month in the library on Tuesday with an open mic poetry reading.
This is the life of a university where students can find their creative voice and have a venue where they can express themselves. And if they're a little shy about that, they can also share what they love about the art of poetry. I was really surprised to see how much Robert Frost we had, and that was very gratifying.
And while famous poets like Robert Frost had several of their pieces read, some up-and-coming poets shared their work as well, something Water says is a step in the right direction.
Sometimes a poet doesn't even know they're a poet until they stand up and they read those words and they hear those words in the ears of others, if you will, that echo. And this is a really important first step for any beginning writer.
One of those beginning writers being Jasmine Johnson, a student who shared a piece she wrote titled Black or American.
Black or American, it really hit home with me because I've read a lot about double consciousness, a lot of W.E.B. Du Bois, a lot of Booker T. Washington, taking an African American literature class. And, it's just one of those things where I learned how to express myself and what I thought about, being who I am in this country.
Tuesday's open mic poetry reading was hosted by the English department. Sarah Singletary, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Up next, the English department will present a forum next Wednesday at 3:30 in Smith 164.
Now, the latest in Trojan sports on Troy Trojan Vision News.
Welcome back and welcome to Troy Trojan Vision Sports. The baseball team is back in Troy for a few hours after wrapping up play in the state capitol against the Hornets of ASU. Troy took a 6-4 victory over the Hornets, but only after a slow start. Neither team drove in a run for the first 4 innings. That all changed in the 5th when Brandon Lockridge drove in 2 RBIs on a single to kickstart the Trojan offense. Troy scored 3 more times before the 8th, in which the Hornets stopped Troy from crossing the plate. Troy drove the 6th nail in the coffin at the top of the 9th, with contributions from Matt Sanders, TJ Binder, and Chase Smart. This victory also snapped the Hornets' 10-game win streak. The Trojans are now on the road to Atlanta for a 3-game series against the Panthers of Georgia State. The series was bumped up a day due to Easter Sunday. First pitch is set for tomorrow night at 5. The women's tennis team is celebrating after 2 big weekend wins against Georgia Southern and number 48 Tulane on the road. One Trojan in particular gets an extra share of the limelight. Junior Sine Ota has been named the Sun Belt Conference Player of the Week after her performance in both of the weekend's matches. In Saturday's matchup against Georgia Southern, Ota went 7-5 twice to clinch the 4-1 victory. Against Tulane, she bested Kyla Clier in the first set, dropped the second set, and shut out Clier in the third set to secure a 4-3 victory. Ota and the rest of the squad will be back in action this weekend in Mobile to face Middle Tennessee and South Alabama. The last time the men's golf team was in action, they were wrapping up play at the Mason Rudolph Championship April 2nd. Up next on the schedule is the Sun Belt Conference Championship, but that isn't until April 23rd. So what do you do with all this dead time? You organize your own contest, of course. Troy is utilizing this Friday to see some action against Georgia and North Florida. Friday morning, Troy will tee off against the Bulldogs, and that afternoon, all 3 will compete at the same time. The event came about after a rained-out Auburn matchup cleared the schedule for use. Head coach Matt Terry explains why the event was set up.
It'll be fun, but it'll be a way we can get a little head-to-head match play in prior to us leaving for conference, because with our conference championship, final 4 teams after stroke play going to match play, we don't get any of that all year. So with us getting to play this, kind of gives us a little mental tune-up, for that Tuesday if we take care of business in match play.
Once again, the Trojans will tee off Friday morning against Georgia, and then both teams will play against Northern Florida that afternoon. And while the men are prepping for another bout, the women's golf team has just wrapped up play at the Brickyard Collegiate in Macon as their final tune-up before the Sun Belt Conference Championship. The women took 8th of 14, with Bianca Lobauer tying for 11th place after shooting 4 over 220, seeking a trio of birdies in her final round and finishing with 8 birdies overall. Fatima Fernandez-Cano tied for 17th overall after shooting even on par and shooting 3 birdies on the day. Some of Troy's victories included Maryland, Chattanooga, and Middle Tennessee. And the track and field team have been tearing up the track as they fly by the competition. Now the team is preparing to head down to Mobile to compete in the USA Multi and Invitational hosted by South Alabama. The Trojans will be coming off the Tiger Classic and the Bill Carson Invitational, both meets happening last weekend. At the Bill Carson, the men took 2nd overall, while the women took 4th, with an 18.09-meter shot put by Zach Douglas to lead the men, and a 3-minute 44-second 4x400 relay time from the women, the 2nd fastest time in school history. The USA Multi and Invitational will begin Friday.